Don't you agree that nowadays we focus quite a bit on everyone's exterior appearance, but we don't focus as much on their character? Yusuf alayhi salam's character was really something else. We know that he was a very handsome man, that Allah had blessed him with half the world's beauty. But what was even more beautiful about Yusuf alayhi salam was his character. And this is something which is often neglected by many of us, especially in the day and age of social media, of posting pictures, with the likes that comes with it and the different filters. It's very easy to just be obsessed about the external, right? This is how a person looks, this is how much wealth they have, this is their status. But for Yusuf alayhi salam, he never compromised on his character. Now, fast forward in the story, he actually finds himself in prison for a crime that he has not committed. And this was linked to the incident with the minister's wife, where they decided, even though he was not guilty of the crime, they wanted to have a cool-off period where he just goes away for some time. So Yusuf alayhi salam finds himself in the prison. Now, understand this. This is an amazing man, a great prophet of God, who is now surrounded by actual criminals. Right, people who have taken lives of others, right, people who have cheated others, people who have stolen. These aren't good people. But when Yusuf alayhi salam enters the prison, what is his character like? Does he think himself above these people? Does he look down upon them and say, who do you all think you are? I am much better than you. You are criminals. You are the lowest of society. Does Yusuf alayhi salam do this? No, in fact, we find the opposite. In fact, we find that two in particular are mentioned, two inmates of the prison are mentioned. And the way that Yusuf alayhi salam addresses them is amazing. He says, Ya sahibay sijni, that, oh, my two fellow companions and inmates and my two fellow prisoners. Look at the way that he addresses them. He doesn't say, oh, you two criminals, oh, you two outcasts, right? No, he says, my fellow prisoners. He welcomes them. And because of the character, because of what they saw with Yusuf alayhi salam, right, they found it comfortable enough to approach him. They felt comfortable enough to approach him and to say that, oh, Yusuf, we've seen these dreams. Because one thing we know that Yusuf alayhi salam was blessed with was the ability to interpret dreams. So they said, oh, Yusuf, we've seen these dreams and we seek an interpretation to the dreams. نَبِّئْنَا بِتَأْوِيلِهِ Inna naraka min al-muhsinin. Focus on what they say here. They say, oh Yusuf, we see you to be a person of excellence. We see you to be a person of great character, an excellent role model. These are two inmates of the prison who now have seen Yusuf alayhi salam to be a person of great character. And if you fast forward the story later on, after he comes out from the prison, we know that Yusuf alayhi salam is given a great position in Egypt. In fact, he becomes one of the nation's treasurers and ministers. Right? So Allah honors him with a very high position. So he goes from the darkness of the prison cell to now a very high position in Egypt. And guess what? Allah mentions the same wording when the people approach him in that high position, where sometimes, when you now have a position and a reputation and, when you are above everyone else and when Allah has blessed you with lots of wealth, again, you can look down on people. But Yusuf alayhi salam doesn't do this. And in fact, the same wording is mentioned there. Inna naraka min al-muhsinin. Oh Yusuf, we see you to be a person of excellence. Look at this. He's in the prison. He is a person of excellence. He has a great position in Egypt and influence, and he is referred to as a person of excellence there. What can we learn from this? Many a time again in our lives, it's easy to be good towards some people, and then, when we go home, right, we were all smiley outside and cheerful with everyone else. We go home and then the real side comes out. Our character needs to be consistent. That's number one. And number two, most importantly, we need to factor in personal development and character development within our lives. In a day and age when we're so focused and so obsessed with the exterior, how many of us focus on developing our character? How many of us focus on developing good qualities? Right? In fact, it's mentioned that our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, that he would make a dua. He would say, Allahumma ahsanta khalqi, that, oh Allah, you have beautified me in my appearance. Right? He would acknowledge that, oh Allah, you've blessed me in my appearance. Then he would say, fa ahsin khuluqi, now, oh Allah, beautify me in my character. Look at that. Look at the focus point here. Character is always the most important thing. On the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to call us based on our looks or based on our appearance or based on the tribe that we're from or based on the amount of wealth that we had. He is going to call us and address us based on our character, based on the good that we did, and based on the things that we did for the sake of Allah. Hey, so I hope you enjoyed that episode and benefited from it. And if you did, I've got some great news, inshallah. So I've actually put together a book covering 40 life lessons from Surah Yusuf titled A Beautiful Patience. You can pre-order that now by heading over to launchgood.com/Surah Yusuf, and you can get hold of your copy right away anywhere in the world.